So how do you protect yourself from an energy vampire? What even is an energy vampire? Well, do you ever feel like your life force is being sucked out of you after you've been around certain people, or like you just feel totally drained? Well,
Yep.
we want to discuss whether energy vampires are real or not, and if they are, how do we identify them? And more importantly, what do we do to make sure that our energy stays in good stead?
Yeah, how do you protect yourself from that drain?
Absolutely. So why don't we dive into what Wikipedia says an energy vampire
Oh,
is?
wiki, okay.
Wikipedia says the term energy vampire is used metaphorically to refer to people whose
Did you Google?
influence. I got on the Google. Okay, I'm going to say it again. The term energy vampire is used metaphorically to refer to people whose influence, that's a key word, influence, leaves a person feeling exhausted, unfocused, even depressed.
Yep,
Have you been around anyone like that?
absolutely.
Me too. In fact, I faced an energy vampire recently, but I got away.
No, if I think back through like the decades, I was like, I'm like, bingo, 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 bing, bing, bing. I can actually pull them out, not because of who they were, but how I felt. And that's a real key, how I felt.
In today's show, we're going to identify 4 different aspects to an energy sucker, like an energy bully or an energy vampire. We'll call them energy vampires for now.
Yeah.
Cool.
For those of you who don't know us or might be new to watching us, I just want to say that we will address that we are completely responsible for our energetic state.
Yeah.
We are completely responsible for giving our energy and attention to someone else. And we're going to talk about other people's energy interacting with us, and we will talk about what we do with our own energy. We are never a victim of any energy here at Satori Method. You are that powerful, aligned with the creator of all creation and that beautiful source of light and life force. That's what you are. You're never a victim to anything. And so now we can continue just to make
that
clear.
was so important that she dropped that. So as we were putting the show together, I was like, I don't even know if I really want to talk about this, because when you focus on something, you give it energy. But then we realized we're around a lot of very receptive and sensitive people.
Very sensitive.
And we have come across this and not known what it was. And therefore, it has affected us in a negative way until we realized what was going on. And so now that we know better, we want to share this forward, because some of you may be experiencing what we experienced. And we want to help. Protect isn't even the right word, but we'll go with that for now. And later you'll understand there's even a better word.
I think this conversation is really important to those of us that feel like we are sensitive. We are sensitive to feelings. We are sensitive to energy. We are actually kind and caring, and also maybe aren't the best at setting boundaries. And that's something that we can work on. And I say all of that really meaning me, but I included you in it. So I am caring, I am kind, I am very sensitive, and I did not know how to set boundaries. And that's why this was such a situation for me. And it really isn't anymore with what we share with you tonight. I hope that'll be your experience also.
And I see somebody just shared that sensitivity is our superpower. And that is so freaking true. And it's the ability to understand that sensitivity and that receptivity and to use it in our favor. It is a superpower. So we've got some notes that we put to the side because there's a few things we want to make sure we cover. I'm going to read one more part about what an energy vampire is. Okay, so this is what the Google is saying today. It's a person who feeds off your emotional or psychic energy. And that's true, right? It's a particular individual who's looking for energy. That's what makes them the vampire. And they're trying to get it from you rather than from themselves.
Yeah.
Okay? So put that into
Yeah, so if you just think about what a vampire is, like a vampire needs someone else's blood to live. So for me, that blood is attention. They need my attention, and attention is energy because they don't know how to self-soothe.
Or self-produce.
They are usually, hurting, maybe... they are not aligned to their own energy, so they're looking frantically on how to soothe that. But the key word for me is attention. Attention is the blood that the vampire seeks.
I remember dealing with bullies as a kid in school and also as a martial arts self-defense instructor, hearing stories of other kids or people who were assaulted, attacked, bullied. And so my job was to help people to become empowered and strong and fend off the assault. And there's an overlap to this because when someone's trying to take something from you, you have to be able to defend and protect, right? And so what we saw as we were training people was there needed to be a reframe around the bully or the vampire. They're actually really insecure. They're very insecure, and there's, in some cases, a massive amount of self-hatred. And they have to create a facade or an identity that helps them feel superior or helps them feel lovable. And they assume this identity, but underneath it is a lot of fear, a lot of insecurity. And so that's one thing as we go through this, you'll start to identify is like, oh, wait a minute. I'm not the weak one when I'm up against something like this. There's a lot of fear in front of me.
Yeah.
And you know how you get rid of a vampire? With light. We be the light. And so we're going to talk about how do you unlock more of your own light to naturally protect yourself. Okay, so I was about to say that the energy vampire is a person who displays traits lacking in empathy. This isn't all energy types, but some. They have an emotional immaturity. As a result of the pain or insecurity they feel inside, the energy vampire becomes addicted to preying on the vitality, the energy of others as an attempt to heal their inner suffering. Okay, so we put that into the equation.
So
pretty spot on.
And it is kind of natural, right? Like that old joke, when you see somebody who's having a good time, seems really happy, they always go, I want some of what she's having. Right? So that's what it is. So a sensitive person, a caring person, a kind person is like, I need some of that. I don't have it within myself. I'm going to go get it. So let's just talk about some of the 4 ways that it might look from the other person so that you can have the awareness of what to do with your own energy when interacting with that other energy.
Okay, so we're going to identify the 4 types.
Yeah.
And then we'll dive into how do we take care of our energy. Okay, the first one we're calling the energy sucker. The energy sucker is the most innocent and innocuous of them all. It's somebody whose energy is split. Their focus is split. They run around like crazy. They're always distracted. Just being around them makes you feel tired.
And it's probably someone who has played the role of I don't have enough money, I'm sick, I've had all these horrible things happen to me, please help me.
They worry a lot.
I'm not like you.
It's a bit of a victim.
Yeah, they have cast themselves, and this is super important.
That's smarter.
The identity that they have given themselves in all of these types that we will talk about. And then the most kind and loving thing you can do is to help someone shift their identity. So that's really an important part of tonight's conversation, is that when you cater to a dysfunction that someone has claimed as their identity, you help them solidify that, which makes it even harder for them to return to the light, to an aligned space, to a healthy place in their own thoughts and feelings and life force.
So have you ever been around somebody like that? They're just super scattered. Their high, distracted energy just makes you feel tired just being around them. What happens, I think, if you let your energetic guard down is that it sort of pulls you into that scattered energy. So that's just something to be really mindful of. And notice there's certain people that I don't hang out with anymore because they're just too friggin' scattered. I love them.
And the reason that it may be exhausting is because you're trying to fix them.
Right.
And they actually are not asking to be fixed. They're not asking to be fixed. They're asking you to be a part of the drama. Okay, want to go on to the second one?
Let's talk about the one we're calling the martyr bully.
I will definitely talk about the martyr. The martyr is more of guilt. And so maybe this is a person that is in your family or someone that you've been close to. And, you know, my day was so horrible because this, and this happened to me. Yeah. There's usually a story where you actually start feeling a little guilty if you don't help them. You know, oh, look at you. You did this today and I wasn't able to.
A poor me
you
story.
Went to exercise class, but I can't because my... It is a martyr, and in that inside of that martyr is not really a true request for help. It is a request for come down here and commiserate with me and stop feeling good yourself. And that's where that boundary issue comes in.
Yeah. They can be very melodramatic. They like to suck you into their story, even guilt you out to try to leech off some of that energy to make you feel responsible for what they're going through.
Mm-hmm.
How can you let this happen to me? Or, the poor me story.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you step into the role of trying to be their savior, and I have done this, that's when they got you. Now, they might not intentionally be trying to get you. This is an unconscious pattern.
Yeah.
They're trying to get back to the light. They're trying to get energy, and they're trying to draw that from you because they see you in a different way, but they can't accept it. So they latch on, and it pulls you down if you let it.
And we are not saying that these people don't need help and don't need the beautiful attention that you can give them, because maybe the story is, my wife died and I'm estranged from the other two siblings and you're the only one listening to me, and this is happening and this is happening and this is happening. You're all I have. You have to talk to me.
And if you step into the savior role, ooh, they got you.
And if the story was shifted where it really was that you're the one that they are reaching their hand up to be lifted up, isn't that beautiful? But the reason that we're kind of using this is kind of a silly term, vampire, is for someone who's like, I'm not going up at all. I'm looking for people to come down here into darkness with me.
Yes, I have found myself tossing, turning, worrying about trying to help people in this type of position. As teachers and the coaches out there, you guys have to be very mindful of this one, because you're a helper.
Yeah.
You want to help people feel better. You want to help fix their problems. But if you lock in to their drama story and you go down to that level and you let that energy penetrate you, it will deplete you. It's not that they're necessarily trying to attack you. There's worse scenarios to be revealed. But these people will pull you down. And so you have to remember, Sabrina talked about a hand up, not a hand out. You have to hold that energetic set point and remind them of what's possible, and don't buy into their story. Even if it seems like, oh, but you're doing so much better than me. It's not that. They have that capacity too.
Yeah.
Maintain your set point.
Yeah, Tristan gave the analogy when we were talking early this morning of two candles. So you're a candle. So you have your wax and you have your wick, and you are lit. And you can lean towards someone in need, and if they have their wick up, and if they're leaning their wick towards yours, you can help light it. But sometimes when we're talking about energy vampires, they have their candle face down, like no wick up, like you burn for me. But the way that you can help someone is when they are saying, help me light that within myself. Help me spark that energy within myself. I want to change my thoughts and feelings. I want to think differently. Not, could you blow out your light so I feel less lonely sitting in the dark?
Here's where there's no energy suck. Somebody's down, they want to be lifted up, and they're willing, they're open, they're coachable. And they say, can you please assist me? And you say, let me share some light with you. And you share that light, and you serve that love. You can be all the way over here now. You can go
boundaries.
You can go bye-bye. They are now lit. This is not taking any energy from you. You helped entrain them up. This is such an important analogy because you're not attached. You did your service. You were in service. You shared love. You shared light, and they got their own lit. It might blow out. Something may happen. But if they're willing, you can help light them back up again. Yeah. But it never depletes you.
Yeah. Yeah, someone just wrote in the chat, like, someone may have given up on themselves, so they're trying to live vicariously through you.
That's right.
So they're going to add all their pressure, all their, like, and that's not okay. Each soul came here to live their own life and their own experience. It isn't even fair to take that from them. All right.
The next one is the alpha bully. Have you ever met an alpha bully? Well, let's unpack what is the alpha bully,
Well,
and why do they drain your energy?
yeah, I would call the alpha as this someone who needs to dominate, someone who always needs to be in charge, who has very strong opinions.
The loudest voice in the
They
room.
might be racist, they might be homophobic, they have political
Sexist,
views,
yeah.
and you are wrong if you disagree. They have definitely categories. This is right and this is wrong, and asks you to be a part of that, where you are constantly being dominated. It's almost like it's not a fair fight, and it never will be, because they can't see you as an equal. They only feel satisfied dominating. They are thriving on dominating your attention, and your attention to them feeds that desire in them
That's
to
what
know
they
that
want.
they are dominating. So you can be around these people if one of them is your spouse or your child, like, okay, that's a whole nother topic, but it's the way that you deal with it. You do not give attention in that way that takes away from the beautiful being that you are.
I have met this character, and I've even flirted with this character in my own life, and it comes from massive insecurity. This person is overcompensating big time. That's why they have to come across so big and be so dominant, because they're afraid of the antithesis of being small, not enough, feeling
Weak.
not smart enough,
Yeah.
weak. And when they overexpress and take that strong alpha bully, nothing wrong with some good, healthy alpha energy, but that alpha bully, it really can challenge you as a human and your core values. Because I don't align with certain opinions that these types of people have. And if I continue to spend time around it, it sucks energy from
Yeah.
me, because I am greatly challenged by these opinions and turned off by it in a lot of ways. So
But in order to have a fulfilling relationship with someone, or a fulfilling connection, or a healthy connection, there's conversation, and the conversation might be like, I think this. Oh, wow, that's interesting. I think this, it's a little bit different. And that's how you learn and grow. You see how someone else looks at something, and you're like, wow, from seeing how you look at that, I just saw something I had never seen before, and I am now better. This alpha personality doesn't allow that. It doesn't allow that conversation and that opinion the way that we're talking about it, the dominated alpha bully. There are personalities who are just more alpha, but who have learned to exist and listen more.
and collaborate and converse. Yeah, so that would be a healthier one.
Yeah.
But you really are, and we'll get into this in a moment, it's about you reflecting how you feel around these types of people, and then knowing what to do. Okay, we've got one more that we're going to unpack.
An alpha, sometimes the situation is, like somebody just said in the chat, I think it was Bonnie, might be your boss at work, might be the teacher in your child's classroom, it might be the principal, it might be someone on the city council. So you may have to have dealings with this person where you're trying to express your opinion and to still do it in a way that protects your energy. And we're going to get into that in just a moment.
I think we're ready.
We're ready to protect your energy?
No, sorry. Don't protect yet. You're already protected. Okay, we're going to talk about the fourth
Okay.
bully. We're calling the full-on narcissistic energy vampire.
Yep.
Now, I really love what this Dr. Roberta Cohn said about a narcissist, since we're bringing in this term, this word, this situation. So I'm going to read it to you. She says, narcissist. What is a narcissist? It's a condition in which a person feels pathological self-hatred and is preoccupied with projecting a lovable image, right? So they're obsessed with this false image. It's overlaying on top of this fear, this how did she say, self-hatred, and this false image, and puts a tremendous amount of energy into other people's impression of them. She goes on to say, because of this projected image, it comes across so lovable, they effectively elicit real love from others.
Yeah.
They're incredibly charismatic sometimes, these types of folks, okay? People's impression of the false image feels like self-love to the narcissist. They want to be loved, but they're incapable of loving themselves or others. The narcissist craves admiration and will manipulate the needs and wishes of everyone to obtain it. And that's where the vampire comes from.
So this is a really tricky one because
Dr. Roberta
the narcissist, which they now say like 1 in 5 people have some narcissistic traits or tendencies, depending on the severity. But they're not capable of really feeling compassion or feeling empathy. And usually highly charismatic and likable. And so you get into the vibe with them and you're feeling oh so good. And so when they do have some criticism about you, it's more hurtful. It seems more intense because maybe you've put them up on the pedestal a little bit. Maybe you're already caring more deeply because you've put your trust in them.
But they actually seduce your trust. So this is why this is the most dangerous of all energy vampires, because they're smooth characters. And they come in and they're very loving towards you and very complimentary towards you. And they draw you in. It's almost like some people have called it energy hooks. And they kind of get these hooks into you. And then because there's this, it's almost sadistic quality inside, they start getting off on putting you down, making you feel bad, making you, they use a form of, it's called gaslighting, where they make you second guess yourself and say things to you that make you completely doubt your sanity. Have anybody ever been around someone like that? It's intense, right? And now you're starting to be really confused and you get disoriented. It's a technique they use to be able to latch on more and suck more energy. Now, this all sounds very scary, and it kind of is. If you let it happen to you, it can really affect your life. But the good news is there's a lot of things that you can do to protect yourself. And number one is to remember that you are the light. And we're going to dive into that fully so that you'll be so safe around any kind of energy vampire.
I would say if I had to like quickly reflect back over my decades, I've probably been around at least 2 people that I think were more of the narcissistic vampires. And if I really could slow down time and see where I am now in my maturity of holding my own space and knowing who I am and not seeking approval from the outside and training my energy to remain where I want to experience it instead of seeking approval from someone else. Like, oh, wow, that helped. Like the scattered person. Am I somehow seeking approval? Like, oh, you're so great, you're so kind, you're so nice, you help me so much. Am I seeking that kind of response from them? Is that why I'm with them, to help align my energy? Because when I reflect back, I see the moments, almost the exact moments that on repeat, I shifted where my boundaries were. And those were for my own gains from being insecure in my own energetic alignment. I allowed and invited in subtle ways the energy hooks and the domination. And because I'm not an alpha energy, naturally, the alpha energy is not a pure energy. There is, to me, the aligned energy. And then there's the off energy that can play strong or play weak. It's both weak, where I could see that. But I see in every form of what we've talked about as what was an energy vampire is really just situations where I decided subconsciously and sometimes consciously to give away parts of my identity and who I am so that I could feel good in this relationship. I could feel needed In the relationship, I could feel part of something. And sometimes feeling part of something feels really good, and sometimes feeling part of something doesn't feel good, but you still feel part of something. Think of an abusive relationship. Doesn't feel good to be in an abused relationship, but why can't people leave? Because they actually still feel a part of something. There's some kind of safety in that. So reflecting back on all of these energy vampires, I feel right now so 1,000,000,000 gazillion% safe from anything, because I am solid in my own energy, and I have trained my own energy to be completely aligned with where I want to be, and that's my priority. So if I'm interacting with someone that says, hey, can you be a whole lot less than you are? Can you be less happy and more miserable? Can you be less healthy? Can you kind of give up some of your values so we can hang out? My answer is no. My answer is no. I will shine light, and I will be here with the candle, and you can raise your wick, but you know what happens? Usually that candle goes and finds someone else because they actually did not want.
They go and find someone else.
They did not want to shift and change.
Yeah. To me, this whole conversation reminds me so much of being a martial artist, and the people that would come to the martial arts because they were scared and they wanted to overcome fear, but because they were scared. And eventually that energy shifted to they want to just feel empowered because it feels so good.
That's such a difference.
This conversation is not to scare you. First, I had to build awareness in the students. Hey, look, the bad guy can do it like this. They can sneak out from the side of the building. So be aware. Awareness is step number 1. They can come running at you. Be aware. Be prepared, right? They can try to pull you in a car. Be aware, right? So we did all these. If this happens, there's the technique that you use to escape. And so everything we're sharing with you is just like, okay, so here's the bully, the sucker, the vampire. This is what they look like. All right, cool. Now let's shift the vibration into, let's train, because training, uplifting, creating an influence of light and pure positivity is how you want to live. I stopped thinking about the bad guy and started loving the empowerment that I was embracing, the Zen master that I wanted to become,
yes,
the holding space for others. And I became an influencer of love and light.
Yeah.
And so that's what we want to shift into here.
Right. So in any interaction, you're either the influencer or the influencee. You're either being influenced. So you have an interaction with a different energy. So we call our commingling Trisbrina, right? So you're having an interaction with someone. Are you influencing that energy? Are you pulling it more towards that which you love? Or are you being influenced by it? Right. It's really as simple as that. There's nothing to be afraid of. All of these labels of, oh, I'm a sensitive person, I'm weak, I'm an empath, I can't control what I feel. Bill Shucky.
Bill Shucky. Bill Shucky. Someone said earlier, it's your superpower, and that is right on. It is right on. So let's get strong together in our energy. There was one other piece about protecting, right? There's a movement that we teach called parting clouds, and you're putting a protective field.
Do you want me to move so you can show it?
Maybe in a minute.
Okay.
Thank you. So when you're putting this field or shield of energy around you, you have two perspectives. We just mentioned them. One, you can feel like, oh, I've got to put the protective shield around me so they don't get me, versus I'm going to influence my environment with this incredible energy so that I'm attracting like vibration. So there's protection and there's attraction, and they're different. Where are you coming from?
Yeah, listen to this, folks.
Listen, pay attention. So what are you putting out? Are you fearful? Are you worrying? Are you concerned about the bad boogeyman getting you?
Have you labeled yourself as an identity? I'm overly sensitive.
Right.
Gotta get rid of that label.
No, I'm incredibly sensitive.
I'm sensitive, and it is powerful. My sensitivity is so powerful.
Super duper sensitive. I mean, We are incredibly
sensitive to love and light.
Yes, and it's a receptivity. It's a skill. It's an ability to listen. It's an intuition. We've been talking a lot about intuition. That sensitivity is your power. And so you're projecting this incredible energy out around you. Projection, very different than protection. It's an attraction.
Yes.
Okay, you getting it?
Speak.
Okay, let's talk about when you know your energy's dipping.
Did you guys hear that? Like, projecting the beautiful energy, because that's what you are, because I am emanating that, because as this blended candy cane consciousness, it is emanating from me because that's what I love, and love is the most magnetic attraction factor. It is emanating from me. It is juicy. It is what I am, and I'm emanating that, rather than I'm protecting myself from the bad people. It's really different. It's really different as far as what you attract to yourself.
Yeah. Chris just said, if someone says you're too sensitive, here's what you say.
Smack them.
No. You could do that. Say,
Really?
Is that too sensitive for you? Chris didn't say that. She said, just say to them, thank you. I appreciate that.
I've been working on it.
Yeah, I've been working hard on that. Thank you. So, you know when your energy's going down if you start feeling things like this. Now, many things can suck your energy, right? Many things. Could be an energy vampire, could be personal habit, could be electromagnetic frequencies. But here's what you need to be identifying or aware of. If you start feeling overwhelmed, ask yourself, what's going on? Am I around an interesting influence that's causing this? What could it be? Could it be a person? Am I getting overly stressed? Am I feeling physically weak or ill? It's not always a person. It could be something going on in here. It could be environmental, but it could be a person, right? Other things to be mindful of, like your emotional state. What's going on with your emotions? Are you getting too irritable? Are you getting anxious? Those are some things to start looking for, okay? So then what do? You address it.
I love that. She loves that. I think you're so funny. She loves.
No, that's Nick. Nick loves that.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nick. All right, so what do?
He's not as funny as me, just so you know.
That's true. You have to up-level your energy.
Up-level your humor.
And your humor. You have to be the light. So what do you think we would recommend?
Gong.
Qigong?
Gong.
Qigong? No, Qigong. Energy work. Take care of your energy so that you're influencing your environment with the pure positive.
And it's emanating from you. Hello.
And you can hold that energy, and that energy is a receptivity. We're calling it the human hearing aid. So when you're around a bully, a sucker, or a vamp,
your aura is so big.
It's so big. Now they might want to, and we've seen this in our lives. I mean, there's people that want to latch on, and we're just like, pew, pew, pew. It's called pong in Qigong. You pong them away.
Tell him about me ponging.
Okay, so pong is an emanation.
We're going long.
It's a projection. It's an energetic extension of your being. When your being is solid, when your being is strong, when your being is in light, when your being is in influence of love, love and light can't be penetrated, y'all. It's the creation of energetic creation energy of the universe. So nobody's going to kick butt on that more than love itself. So I was walking with Sabrina in New York.
Wait. I lived in New York. I lived in Manhattan, and Tristan had never been there. And on our 1-year wedding anniversary, we decided to go to Manhattan, and I wanted to walk him from Times Square, if you're familiar with New York, like Broadway and 42nd Street, to 75th and Broadway, because that's where I lived.
I didn't ever live there, and I was like,
our visit.
I'm a martial artist, so I know like how to deal with energy coming at me. But I noticed that there's so many people walking down, going in both directions, and they're walking fast, man. And like I'm like going like this. I'm just like moving my shoulders because people are just gonna smack you. And then I was just like, this is insane, And I noticed that I started kind of getting a little behind Sabrina because she had a different walk. And when she would walk, people would go like this. They'd move their shoulder for her. And I was like, she's ponging them. It was energetic commitment. It was energetic intention. It was her body language, but it was her full on, this is how you live here and this is how you get where you want to go.
I had to learn it when I lived there.
So we need to be able to pong against that aggressive energy that might try to run you over. Okay. So obviously Qigong, moving, hydration. I mean, I know these things sound basic, but if you're not hydrated, you're depleting your energy force. It's really, really important. You're getting enough sleep. That obviously, if you're doing Qigong, you're moving. Here's one. Keep your head clean. Take out the mental trash. Take out the head trash. Keep your environments clean. All these things affect your energy. Don't be around too much electromagnetics that are throwing your system off. Just do what you can do to maintain your energy. Now, we're going to do something really cool to help our whole community out. We're going to do 3 days deep dive into energy expansion, like really blasting your energy by taking care of your body, working with your breath, and even going beyond into these incredible energetic frequencies through meditation. So we have an event that's starting next week.
Next Thursday.
Some of you are already signed up and you're coming. If you haven't gotten a ticket,
Body, Breath, and Beyond, and there's like
the ticket link.
I don't know, like a day left to get an early bird ticket at 80% off. If you're seeing this, you'll go to the page, you'll see if it's still there. SatoriMethod.com/BBB for Body, Breath, and Beyond. It's on Zoom, so you're actually working with us on things for your body, ageless mobility, healing, Qigong, energy exercises, meditation, shifting your mindset. What else? Fascia freeing.
We're going to work on the fascia. We're going to work on opening the channels. We're going to get the energy flowing.
I'm in.
Obviously, we're talking about energy vamps and stuff tonight, but the most important thing is the energy set point that you can hold in your life, and that you become an influencer of light and love, so that that's what you're calling in. And so the only way to do that is to shift and up level your energy. So we thought if we deep dive, full total immersion for 3 days from like 10 a.m. Central to 5 p.m. Central.
With
There's going to be
and a lunch.
breaks and a lunch, and really, really just going deep into the exercises without distractions. And soaking in it, if you will, right? So Qigong is a cumulative experience. In order for you to get big Qi and be able to have that Pong, P-O-N-G, Pong energy that protects you naturally by projecting it, you have to kind of soak in it for a bit. So we think these 3 days as a retreat is going to up-level your energy massively. And we hope that you will join us because it will be really, really informative and really, really fun.
Yep. So someone just asked a question. If you're living a life that you feel is like in light and in love, and you're attracting people that want that, if you're attracting people that want that and they are beautiful and they are wanting that, ain't that grand, right? You can have a party with them. If you're attracting people who want to take that from you, which I think is what the question is because you called them a vampire, then are they really attracted to the light and love, or are they attracted to being saved? Are they attracted to you validating the identity they've cast themselves in? So just a little review. A martyr says, I've had the worst day. This is so terrible. This has happened to me. And they want you to get down there and say that, yes, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. So we're not saying don't give attention when there's someone in your family that wants that, but give them the attention of love and light that allows them to shift their identity. You cannot be someone else's candle. You cannot be someone else's wick. And you can't even lean their candle towards yours. So usually when we're talking about this little term like energy vampire, it's someone who has their candle away, their wick is away, and they actually don't want to be lit. They're saying, I want to stay where I am, and I want you to come down here and commiserate with me and validate. And it's just not fair. It actually isn't serving love unless you help people shift their identity into what we know is the truth, that they are abundant in energy, they are abundant in health, they are abundant in life force. It's just they have some habits that are on repeat. And we can either reinforce those habits and we reinforce those thoughts and reinforce those feelings, and that's going down to their level. Or we can say the attention we give is, I see you as this and I see you as that, and I would love to have a conversation with you about that. And we cease the conversations that reinforce the lack. And it is tough when it's a family member.
It's really tough. I had a family member that displayed 3 of the traits we talked about today. Just a quick review. We've been talking about the energy sucker, that scattered, distracted type energy in a person that if you get hooked in with it, it makes you feel scattered too. The second one was the martyr, the poor me bully. The next one that we talked about was that kind of dominant alpha bully, that personality that's just really strong in your face, loud, very energy sucking. And then, of course, the worst of them all we've called the narcissistic energy vampire. Well, I had a family member that was displaying all 3 of those. And, in coaching, we have a term. If the client isn't a good fit, you fire them. I fired this family member. I fired them not because I wanted to, but because I had to, for me and for them. Now, I'm not saying that everybody should do this, but I had to.
But you did say, I'll continue.
Explain.
Okay.
I told this person, now this is where boundaries come in. Really strong, clear lines. You want to serve love and you want to serve light? Amen. We're on the same page. I want to serve love and light in every human, if that's what they want. If their candle,
we're not talking 10 years ago, guys. We're talking
lit.
About in the past
if
year.
If their candle wants to be lit, I'm more than happy to share. But if I'm sharing my light and they keep blowing it out and then asking for another light, I'm actually getting tired of doing that with the other candle. That's one aspect. The other thing is they don't freaking want to get out of the story. They want to keep looping in it. And so you try to hold space and you're like, hey, look, you're in a strong vibration. Let's only talk about all that is good and all that is positive. Start telling a new story, right? In a way, you're coaching, if they want that. You have to be very careful with family members. You can enter into a coaching relationship. It's not necessarily healthy. Recommend that they work with somebody else. But I was holding space for this person so consistently, but they would loop me in gently with the martyr story, poor me, and I felt myself slip to it one time. And I had to come back up. They would manipulate with crying, I'm broken. They would get all scattered and they wouldn't be able to do stuff. Like my technology, I stepped on my computer. It was a friggin' mess. Send me money. You want to be there. You want to be the love. You want to be the light. You want to serve. And there's a certain point when you realize, when I realized, this is all friggin' energy vampire. This is manipulation. They don't want out of this. They're going down and they're going to pull me into that energy if I don't cut. And I had to fire that relationship, but here's how I did it. Hey, look, I am still here for you and I love you. I will always be here for you and love you, but not in this capacity. I'm not interested ever again having a negative story. I don't ever want to hear any bitching or complaining about other people, especially other family members. No, I am not giving you any more money at this time because you're not responsible with it. And I laid the law. I laid my law down, which was from a place of love. It was hard. Honestly, it was hard because there was some old guilt that they were using. I did all these things for you when you were a kid.
Yep. It was hard.
But I'm doing all these things for you now and you're acting like a kid. And I had to flip my role and I had to be the loving friend. I cannot be the son. I have to be the friend in this scenario. Okay? Now, this is very open and very public that I'm sharing this. You need to know there's still massive love going on. I'm holding the light and I'm holding the love and my arms are always open. But I had to change the nature of the relationship. And so it's not easy to do sometimes, but it's very important. It's very important. So I hope that serves some of you, but just taking a minute to share that.
And right now, that situation,
I haven't heard a word.
There isn't communication.
On their choice, not mine. I am here to support, love, and someone who wants to rise. You know, we will bend over backwards for somebody that wants to be in the high vibration and be a service of others.
If you saw last week's show where we were talking about the weeds, there was one weed that when you pulled it out, it pulled out the whole root ball and it left a little hole. and because it took out some of the dirt with it, it felt like a void. Well, this kind of felt like that. It felt a little bit like a void, like I'm supposed to have this relationship in my life with this person, and so if it might feel awkward for a while, but now it's so much healthier. And if communication does resume, it'll be completely different because the boundaries were set towards, I support you in being all that you can be. I see you for your potential. I see you for your possibility.
Yeah. Beautiful stuff here. We told you this one might be a big one, but we think it's an important one.
I love all the comments.
Yeah, you guys are.
Somebody said, new sheriff in town.
We want you guys to all of us to be strong from a place of love and sensitivity, and not from being a bully against a bully. A war against a war has never worked.
Right.
You can still be incredibly powerful and strong and loving and kind. Sometimes the kindest thing is to draw that line and just do it because you truly are in love and light. And remember the differentiation today between what you're projecting versus feeling like you're protecting. I realized there was some protecting that I was getting into and angst, and I shifted it to projecting pure love. And that gave me the clarity of how to do it.
Yeah.
When I was in the other mode, I was getting sucked into it.
Yeah.
It's fear and love.
So the moral of the story is that we have the power, we have the opportunity, we have the capacity to train our energy to be so steadfast where we want it to be. Just like we can train our resting heart rate. There's certain things you can do so your resting heart rate is at a certain place. You can train your energetic frequency to stay where it is. And to be so strong in that you can interact with people and help them without hurting yourself. Because when you do that, then you're no longer of help to all the other people.
Right.
So do I believe in energy vampires? That was one of the things. So, I would have to say that I know that there are people that make it more challenging for me to stay solid in my energy. And I am grateful to them because they cause me to be even more solid in my energy so that I can help everyone.
And there are relationships out there that are not balanced yin and yang. And if you get into a distorted relationship, it will feel like an energy suck. But you know what? There comes a point in time when that's on us. It's on us to notice, to be aware, to make conscious choice about who and what we will engage. And if you are balanced and you are right and you are in light, you will make the right decision. You will always make the right decision. And your love will shine bright, and you will be the one who entrains the energy up through your influence. You never have to go down to go up. You just keep going up and hold that light.
Yeah, and to not resent these people, but in your own silence, can I thank them? Wow, thank you for challenging me to hold more steadfast to what I know my own possibility to be, to make that stronger. Thank you for that, because we can get into a habit with someone, whether they're a family member or not. Everything is a habit. Everything is subconscious. Oh, this is the way I act when I'm with that person. This is the way I act when I'm in that class. Oh, this is who I am when I'm over there. I'm more of a leader. Oh, back here, I'm at the back of the room. So there's all these habits, and it requires that you let go of that to be completely full of your possibility when you have an interaction with someone that you've been giving your energy to, for you to upgrade your own identity as someone who is more solid. And that's the invitation for them to do the same.
If you're watching this on the replay and you want to see the incredible comments that the community has shared today.
I know, it's so good.
Please go to our Facebook page. I mean, they're on YouTube as well. I'm not sure where you'll be watching this. You might be watching this on our website.
Oh.
But if you go to either our YouTube channel, which is Satori Method, you can just, search for it. Or if you go to Facebook and you look for Satori Method and you look for this show, Obviously, today, September 8th, 2022. Read the comments. There's incredible wisdom in the chat, and this is obviously a very important
People
conversation.
are funny.
I think it's important because I realize so many of us deal with this all the time. And so this is a skill to develop. All right, sweet friends. On that note.
Yeah, I love hanging out with you guys.
Yeah, we're going to go get, they're doing tarot card reading today down the street in the Galleria where we live. So if they're still
It's
doing
like
it,
they invite, it's like helping small business owners and they have a little fair.
we'll go ask them about energy vampires.
Maybe we'll videotape it.
All right, so much love. See you next week. Bye.